Good evening, everyone. I would like to introduce myself. My name is Maci Torres. I'm 16 years old, and I'm a sophomore at John W. Hallahan Catholic Girls High School. It truly is a pleasure to be able to stand here and share my story with all of you. Growing up, my dad never made me aware of the financial struggles that my family and I were having. He always wanted to keep it hidden from me so that I wouldn't have to worry about anything. Although it was hard to accept, I knew that my family did their best to ensure that I would be like any other kid. Of course, at times I became a little selfish because I couldn't have many of the things that other kids did. But I knew that they always put my needs before their own, and because of that, I learned that I'll be fine with what I have and with what I can afford. It definitely made me understand the difference between want and need. When I was in the process of determining what high school I wanted to go to, I knew that I would run into financial issues. It was no longer a matter of what school I wanted to go to, but what school would give me the most money in scholarships and financial aid, and of course, a good education. I got into several of the schools I applied to, including Hallahan and Central High School. I was also awarded a $1,500 scholarship to Hallahan, which was actually my first choice. It was upsetting though, because I had my heart set on one school, but I knew the tuition would put a heavy burden on my family. So by the end of 8th grade, I decided that I would go to Central High School because it was free and it was a good school. But Central wasn't anything that I had expected at all. I came from a very small grade school where all the students knew each other and where we all had close relationships with our teachers. But Central was the complete opposite. It was massive in size with over 2,000 kids in the building. We were only given 3 minutes in between each class, and with all the students packed in the hallways, it made it difficult to get to class on time. I can remember coming home from school, being completely miserable about the horrible day that I had. I stayed at Central for about a week until I realized that it wasn't the place for me. And that's how I ended up at Hallahan. My dad saw how upset I was at Central, and he did everything he could for me to transfer to Hallahan. Even with the scholarship, my family still couldn't afford Hallahan. But my dad didn't give up. He kept fighting for me. And with a little financial aid, I was finally a member of the Hallahan Sisterhood. I already knew so many girls that went to Hallahan, which made my day a whole lot easier. All of the girls were so welcoming, and they really wanted to get to know me. I was finally happy with where I was and who I was with. Sophomore year, however, has proven to be an emotional roller coaster. A few months ago, my family and I were evicted from our home. It was a shock because my dad didn't tell me anything that was going on at the time. We had to pack up everything in such a short amount of time and leave behind the only place we ever really knew. We even had to move into my grandparents' house. It was a big adjustment, and it still is, but I'm most certainly grateful that I had a place to go. Even today, we still struggle. I remember when my school was having a father-daughter dance, and my dad and I really wanted to go, but we felt bad paying for tickets because we couldn't even pay for my tuition. At this point, I was technically on the brink of not even being able to attend Hallahan anymore because we were so far behind on payments for tuition. But luckily, we were able to go, and while we were there, the president of my school, Mrs. Young, spoke with my dad, telling him that we wouldn't have to worry because I would be taken care of in regards to my tuition. Whenever I feel hopeless, I always remember that I had my faith to get me through those difficult times. If it wasn't for Hallahan, I would have never been able to discover that faith. My grade school was not Catholic, so I didn't have the opportunity to learn about my religion. Hallahan really has taught me a lot, and for that I'm grateful. Knowing that the Lord is always with me has helped me to not feel discouraged. It definitely has been hard on my family. We've all had to make many sacrifices just to keep going on. But in the meantime, despite everything, I've managed to get good grades and be ranked 3rd in my entire sophomore class. I'm also very actively involved in my school, especially in the extracurricular activities. I am a varsity cheerleader, softball player, and bowler. I was even qualified as an all-Catholic bowler and was able to attend the regional bowling tournament in Lancaster. In a way, I'm glad for some of the things that has happened to me in my life because they've motivated me to keep pushing forward. Although my family and I still struggle to this day, I know that it's these difficult times that will bring us closer and that I will be a stronger person in the end. Thank you.